on my computer. So let's just review our testing, strategies really quickly. We're going to read the questions mindfully, and we're going to think to ourselves, what is the goal here in this scenario? Either the teacher's goal or the student's goal, because sometimes it's posed as the student must do this. So what is the goal period for the teacher and or student? What keywords and phrases should be like red flags to us? And a red flag in the sense that it's an important detail that might change the weight of an answer, right? Make one answer more appropriate than the other when we consider what's going on in the scenario, the words that are being used, the actions that are being done, what skills the students are supposed to be highlighting. So identifying those keywords and phrases and keeping them in your mind when you're going through your answer choices, and never eliminating an answer choice right off the bat. Give each of them due process, and it's due process against your keywords and phrases and what the goal is. If it does not attend to the goal, address the goal, changes the goal, it's wrong. If it does not jive or smoothly support keywords and phrases, then it can't be the right answer. So let's continue. I think we're on 51, if I'm not mistaken, last time. We did that one. We did this one. Okay, this is a good one. And giving a short quiz before the start of a new unit is most appropriate to help with which of the following? So before we read our answer choices, we're giving a short quiz. And what other keywords and phrases? I want for you guys to unmute yourselves and let me know what's important for us to pay attention to get this answer right.
Giving a short quiz. Starting a unit.
Before starting, this is important. It's a time marker before starting, and it's something new, right? So whenever we see most appropriate, that should set off alarm bells. That means they may have given us one or more appropriate response, but one is most appropriate given the specifics of the question and or scenario. So it's a short quiz before time marker, this new unit. So it's going to help with one of the following. So planning the major content outcomes for the unit, discovering what prior knowledge or misconceptions the students may have, assessing which students will probably learn the most from the upcoming unit, assessing which students will require more of the teacher's time out of class. Which of these, if any, can you say it's not the right answer? And I'm betting myself $5, and this is why.
I would say 3 is out.
Right. It's not going to let us know who it's. The assessment at the end is going to tell us who learned the most. That's silly. A pre-assessment is not going to tell us who is going to master the most. That's not what it does. So what else?
1 and 4.
I heard 4.
1 and 4, yes.
Yeah.
4 is no. We're not trying to assess so we know how much time like particular students are going to require time. That's not even how we do things. That's not even how it works. So 4, absolutely not. Betting myself $5. Planning the major content outcomes. Guess where these are planned?
Before we even gave the quiz,
Yeah, they're in our what?
Yeah. TEA
TEA sets that out. Like the major content outcomes, there are specifically outlined by law in our TEXES. Those are outlined. Now, deciding what they know going in, helping us understand what prior knowledge they have, what misconceptions, if any, so that we can use it as part of our instructions with these major content outcomes that are already in place, that students must know receive instruction in our classroom on those knowledge concepts and acquire those skills. Those major outcomes are already decided in the TEKS. We have to fulfill them in different ways using a variety of strategies, resources, and discovering what they already know and how we can use it to help them gain what they need to know, what misconceptions they might have, so we can find ways of supporting and clarifying those misconceptions. So good work on that one, guys. Wasn't a super meaty as far as like long in the scenario, but it did have keywords and phrases that made particular things just nonsensical. Okay, we're going to read the and it's kind of long. So it refers to who knows what domain? Who can tell me what domain our code of ethics show up in? What domain of our exam and learning is code of ethics?
4.
Domain 4, that's right. It's all about professional responsibilities and our standards in the law regarding law. Read the excerpt below from the Code of Ethics and Standard Practices for Texas Educators, then answer the question that follows. Ethical conduct, and this is from the Code of Ethics, towards students. Standard 3.9. The educator shall refrain from inappropriate communication with a student or minor, including, but not limited to, electronic communication such as cell phone, text messaging, email, instant messaging, blogging, or other social network communication. Factors that may be considered in assessing whether the communication is inappropriate include, but are not limited to, the nature, purpose, timing, and amount of communication, the subject matter of the communication, whether the communication was made openly or the educator attempted to conceal the communication. So now we've read this that comes from our Code of Ethics, which it's a longer document than just this paragraph, outlining everything we can and cannot do and all of the sort of rubrics with which we need to assess the things that we're doing. Because is there ever going to be a case where you have to, for instance, text message a student? Can you think of a time where you might have to?
I asked a teacher that has cell phone numbers of students because of a club that she runs. I asked her to get a hold of a student after calling both of this student's parents because she had left her backpack in my room. It was a separate cheerleading backpack, and I didn't want her to worry about it. And I asked her if she had a way of getting a hold of her, and she said she did, and she would let her know.
Right.
But
and so there are legitimate, I was
Yeah.
a tennis coach and the cheerleading coach. So prior to apps that allowed like monitoring of text messages, like there's like educator apps where you can text on the phone or whatever if you have the app. But before that, if we're in a tennis tournament and I'm moving around to the different courts and people are getting off and they have to get a hold of me, like there are appropriate times and places for some of these things. English teachers several times assigned blogging assignments where the students have to create a blog based on a book that they read and we comment on it, right? But this is not in hiding. It's particularly for an education or school related activity. You know, I was a UIL coach. I had the students, the parents' numbers, they were all over a huge high school campus that was unfamiliar to us in different rooms, and there had to be a way for us to connect with each other. So there are legitimate, reasonable instances where communication on social network, never. There just isn't. And I would tell all my students, when you graduate from high school, feel free to add me. And that would be when they'd graduate and be like, Miss Sauceda, you said I could add you. Now that you're an adult, go off and do your things. Fine. But never, never, never while they're in school, just never. Even my cheerleaders, I wouldn't add them until they turned 18, I'm not going to be a teacher that has friends that are students on social media. And I'm certainly not going to be messaging them or communicating in the messenger section on social networks. So it has to be all out in the open, has to be above reproach and appropriate. You know, if you, well, we'll get into the question because I don't really know what it's about. So let's just see. An 8th grade teacher has assigned a project in which students will examine the history of baseball and ways it has impacted American culture. The teacher would like to communicate with the students regarding writing assignments and research activities in conjunction with this project. Given the information provided, which of the following actions by the teacher would be most appropriate way to use technology in accordance with standard 3.9? Let's go back up to take a look. What is the goal of the teacher in this scenario? I want you guys to chime in. Tell me what the goal of this 8th grade teacher is.
Communicate with students regarding writing assignments.
She wants to communicate with their students about the assignment and research activities, but also doing it in the most appropriate way.
Right. So she's already assigned, and that's the important part. So she has given the assignment. She assigned a project, and the students know what it's about. She wants to give them extra information, communicate other things regarding the specifics of the writing assignments and the research activities that will be in conjunction of this historical analysis of baseball and how it impacted American culture. Given what we know about, you know, communication, what would be the most appropriate way to clarify some of these particular points in the project? Let's take a look. Texting students each night to find out if they were able to understand and complete their homework.
No.
I mean, we never want to do that to one, but that is no. You know, we just had this conversation, and texting students each night, apart from being inappropriate, it's like ineffective, and it will take the teacher so much time. Like, no. Messaging a student about meeting at a coffee shop after school to review draft on an essay.
No.
Negative, guys. No. We can just go down these and say, why would bet $5 that that's not the answer? So I'm betting $5 that's not the answer.
I bet 100 on 2.
Exactly. I bet 100.
I'm gonna float it all. Like, yeah, no. Okay.
I know. And this came from Pearson. These are practice Pearson questions. So yeah, that's a definite no. We are not meeting alone with students anywhere at all. If you're with students somewhere, it is because it is a sanctioned school event. Like, I am the field trip sponsor. I'm the coach here. I'm the UIL sponsor. I am here with these students at a Burger King because we just got out of a tennis tournament. I asked them to meet me here so we can go over specifics of an assignment that needs to take place at school. There's no other reason for, fraternizing with the students outside of school, certainly not at a coffee shop. Asking students for their cell phone numbers at the beginning of the school year. Emailing a response to a question about how to correctly cite a quote from a baseball player.
Yes, I see.
Obviously, C is the answer. This was a super duper easy and obviously wrong. They could have been a little bit more difficult with their other things, but yeah, this is implausible. Texting everyone. As an English language arts and reading teacher for, let's say, when I was at PSJ North, I often had 137 students, 140 students throughout my various classes. So yeah, that's not even feasible. And no, it's very inappropriate. Teachers should not be texting with students about assignments unless it's like an emergency and you're also their sponsor, so you have their number. We just don't text students. It's just not. We email them at appropriate times. Even when I'm emailing students, so sometimes I read my emails late, and I try not to do that because I don't want to respond back late. And because I feel like even for me as the instructor of adults, that it's inappropriate to be like emailing you at 2 in the morning, because that's when I'm reading my emails. So there's just an appropriate way of professionalism when dealing with, student, teacher, conversations and communications. So a fourth grade teacher develops a series of questions as part of a thematic reading unit on the seasons for a class. Which of the following strategies should the teacher use to effectively apply universal design for learning guidelines while gathering information from students about their prior knowledge on the topic? Lots of stuff for us in this thing. Let's look at the words. What do we need to know? Like, what keywords and phrases, what red flags do we see that we need to pay attention to?
Well, we're talking about a fourth grade.
teacher.
Fourth graders, it's important. Age group, grade level, taken into consideration.
Thematic unit.
It's a thematic reading unit, and it's about the seasons, right? Which of the following strategies? We're looking for the strategies. The goal is like, what strategy to do what? What strategy for what?
For universal design for learning.
Right. So what is that? What is UDL?
Okay. Hold on.
It's actually one of my favorite. It is not one of my favorite. It's my favorite
It is
like-
okay.
learning design. And I'll give you a mini lesson on it. The universal design for learning actually comes from architecture and planning. And there's a not a theory, but a strategy or a framework that all architectures and zoning, planning, developers utilize, and it's the universal design. So when people are planning city roads and crosswalks, they want the crosswalk, the streets to be usable by all of the population, however diverse, whether you are handicapped, whether you are, in whatever way possible, you read other languages. The universal design in architecture made it to where everyone could get the most use out of it. It was for the entire population. And the universal design for learning is just an application of those ideals, making sure that every nuance and diverse learner in your activities, in your lessons, has accessibility to the knowledge, accessibility to mastery via, personalized thought on the specifics of your learners, of your audience, of the users. So let's take a look. We're looking for a strategy that would implement or apply this universal design. Universal design considers everyone's needs, everyone's skills, everyone's where they're at. And makes it more accessible to all. So, but we want to apply it for what? That's not the end of our keywords. There's a specific goal. We want to apply universal design for what?
Information.
About their prior knowledge.
About that, we want to check their prior knowledge on the topic, on this thematic reading unit. So we want to apply. We're doing two things. Or we're going to need to do two things. The answer choice is going to have to do two things. It's going to have to effectively apply universal design learning guidelines and help gather information about the student's prior knowledge. It must do both. Let's take a look at our answer choices. Projecting the questions accompanied by symbols and pictures and having the students respond by speaking or writing. Distributing a handout with questions, with the questions for the students to read independently and answer in writing using a dictionary if needed. Asking the students to use hand gestures to act out their answers to the questions the teacher is asking them. Having a representative group of students respond verbally to the questions while the other students use gestures to express approval of the sample group's responses. Okay. So fourth grade teacher, she develops a series of questions as part of her thematic unit. So she has these questions and she wants to apply the universal design for learning when she's gathering information from students about their prior knowledge. So she's giving them the questions and she wants to apply strategy. Which one applies UDL? Which one doesn't? Tell me what we can throw out because it's not universal design.
Number 2.
Number 2, distributing out. So what if the students who are not good independent readers?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to them?
They're not going to be able to show their knowledge very well.
They're not going to be able to show their knowledge if they can't understand the question. What if I said the question to them also? That would be a little bit more UDL. If I not only handed out the paper, but I also explained it, like I read out loud and then I clarified. That's the audio portion of it, right? Me expanding on it, but they didn't even do that here. They just said, here, use a dictionary if needed. If they aren't good independent readers, will they be good independent dictionary users?
No.
No, you have to be, you are taught dictionary skills as you're more literate in your use. So that's not a given that's going to help. 2 is out. 100% not UDL because you're just going with the high readers. That's it. And hoping for the best for everyone else. What else?
The student has changed the back down their answers. The teacher is asking them.
Right.
Let me scroll down for 4 if you haven't forgotten about 4. Having a representative group of students respond verbally. What's wrong with this portion right here? A representative group of students. What does universal mean?
That each year.
That
In
everyone
general.
needs to learn.
Everybody. This is
Right.
just a small group here that are going to be verbally responding. Well, how is that going to make it to where I know everybody's prior knowledge? It's not. I'm only going to know that little groups, and then I don't even know what the other students are just nodding yes or no. This is not universal for everyone. Everyone cannot participate in this. 4 is a no for me. I can bet myself $5 because this is this representative group. A good answer choice is never going to limit or allow one group to participate and the others to sit by idly, especially not in a universal design of learning question, for sure, because that's like the antithesis of what's supposed to happen, the opposite. Okay, we're down to what?
1 and 3.
1 and 3.
So,
Ask the students to use
So
their
she's
hands.
asked, she develops a series of questions and she's probably asked them to the class and she wants to apply the UDL design when gathering information of the student's prior knowledge. So between 1 and 3, we have projecting the questions accompanied by symbols and pictures and having the students respond by speaking or writing. Asking the students to use hand gestures to act out their answers to the questions the teacher is asking them. Now, what grade level is this?
This is 4th grade.
4th grade.
This is a tough question. I would say it's 1. I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe I am wrong because I don't know. I'm just saying it's 1.
I'm
Yeah,
going
tell
with
me,
1
let's
is
hear
fine.
your comprehension behind it. You're correct, it is 1.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, because if we go to 3, it's just hand gestures. That's basically kind of like kindergarten type of thing, you know?
Right. Exactly. And so here you give them, if they're not yet a fluent writer, but you're talking about concepts and you want to know their knowledge, we're not grading their writing, right?
Right.
Trying to grade their writing at this moment. You're trying to ascertain prior knowledge about the thematic unit of the seasons. And so it's perfectly fine to ask these questions and give them the option of speaking or writing. Those that understand it but feel more comfortable doing an oral response will do that and can show you what they know, giving you more data, more information. It will help you gather information, giving them the option of speaking and writing, providing pictures and symbols to help illustrate some of the questions is helping students who are not great readers yet, giving them visuals to help clarify ideas and allowing them to respond and show what they know based on the question, on their prior knowledge. So this was a challenging question, but you guys did really good and you came out with the right answer. 3 is incorrect. We don't want them to just be miming out stuff. You know, even with our kindergartners, we would want for them to like act it out. We could have them act it out, but not just with gestures, you know, we want them to act things out, use words, try to explain. Because with kindergartners, we really, really, really don't want them to be focusing on hand gestures. We want them to be using their words, using oral language, listening and speaking skills, K through 3rd grade, really, really important, building on that oral language proficiency. So in 4th grade, continuing on with that and giving them the opportunity to orally respond as a means to collect data. And that universal design for learning is showing you all the areas: listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing. So that they hit all of them with that first one.
Mrs. Sauceda, can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So can we just say, or can universally, if we're speaking about different age groups, even going in secondary students, can we say that really anything that includes something that doesn't include everyone, that's not going to be an answer for this UDL concept?
Right. And especially, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's especially going to be like with your accessibility, visually, audio, tactile, in that way, hitting all of it, oral, written, where you're allowing them to shine and represent in all of the facets that we have.
So also I put for all of it, again, I X'd out, if I see handouts that I'm giving for them to read and then answer on their own, that's really not UDL, again, across the board.
Exactly. It's not.
Okay.
A handout is
Thank you.
never going to be UDL.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you answering that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So, while attending a regional professional development workshop, a 5th grade team of teachers participates in a small group discussion on implicit bias and instruction. During the discussion, several teachers verbally agree that they have not selected more diverse texts for their reading curriculum because sometimes diverse texts are not rigorous enough. Which of the following steps should an English language arts teacher take first to address sorry guys. Which of the following steps should an English language arts teacher take first to address the effect such implicit bias has on instruction? Lots to unpack. So what are we doing here? What is going on? What is the goal here for the teacher in this scenario, and what keywords and phrases? We have a 5th grade teacher. Anytime there's an age group, grade level, we want to pay attention to it. The team of teachers, it's about implicit bias and how it impacts instruction. Are implicit, it's just in us. And so some of them were agreeing that they have not selected diverse texts. Regardless of why, this is a problem, because it is part of our job to make sure that we are selecting texts that are culturally relevant, certainly to the student population that we have, but also bringing in other culturally diverse texts. Okay. So the goal here, if I'm reading it correctly, is to address the effect, which is not having diverse, right? The implied bias is that it's not rigorous enough. That's the implied bias. And the cause or the effect of that implied bias is that they're not selecting these, diverse writers. How do we address it? That's the goal. That's what needs to happen in the correct answer choice. A way to address the implicit bias or the effect that it has on instruction, which is not having diverse text. So let's take a look at our answer choices. Researching and reading professional texts and developing a curriculum that represents diverse voices. Modeling positive behavior and attitudes during classroom activities. Learning about and taking into account students' cultural norms and expectations when creating rubrics. Reflecting on and writing about personal experiences related to implicit bias. What is the goal here?
Well, they want to, okay, the very first step to address the effect of the bias, the implicit bias on the instruction. Hold on, I'm sorry. I moved to a different area because I was losing Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. Excuse
No, not
me.
at all. So we
We're
have,
looking for the first step.
yeah, what the teacher, it says, which of the following, so they, during a discussion, several teachers verbally agree that they have not selected more diverse texts for their reading curriculum, so in their own curriculum, this is a problem. There is no diversity because they think it's not rigorous enough.
Uh-oh, no.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So what is the
Ah.
first step?
Hmm.
Either 1 or 4.
I think is
Okay.
one. Is developing a curriculum.
Can't do one.
Or no. Oh no,
Okay,
wait.
so I love this diagonal.
Wait.
Let's eliminate bad ones. Like, let's say this,
Yeah.
no, it's not going to work to address the issue. No, nice try, no cigar.
Yeah.
What about 2? Will modeling
what-
positive behaviors and attitudes in the classroom make there be more diverse text in the curriculum?
No.
No,
Sorry. I'm no, get that out of here. No, sorry.
No,
I'm gonna
see?
try to be, yeah, I'm gonna calm down. Okay, no, but no. Get out. No.
Okay, so what about will learning about and taking into account students' cultural norms and expectations when creating rubrics help with creating more diverse texts, with more diverse curriculum?
Will that help us get in book? I mean, will that help us change text, like our text that we have in the classroom? I
It
mean, I
doesn't
think it's
say,
important.
it says it's talking about rubrics, so it's talking about assessment.
Yeah, so
A rubric is an assessment that we use to
no.
gauge expectations. So I would say 3 is wrong. It will not do what we need to have done. We need to change the curriculum so that guys, please, we need to change the curriculum so that it includes more diverse text, right? Diverse voices for our students. Check the implied bias, which says that diverse text can't be rigorous, and incorporate more diverse text into the curriculum. So which one of these does that? We're left with 1 and 4.
One.
1 does that. 1's the only one. And this researching and reading professional text will help dispel this horrific myth that diverse texts cannot be rigorous enough. They absolutely most certainly are. And so that is preposterous. And if you will read in professional, literary magazines and scholarly work, you'll be able to find a wealth of voices from diverse texts to incorporate with existing curriculum in order to rectify this. So one is the only one that does it. One is the only one that addresses what needs to be addressed, that makes a change in the curriculum to help with that implied bias. Oh, I needed to make this a bit larger. Actually, where is that? All right. So we have a 5th grade social studies teacher is teaching a lesson on various types of governments. The teacher decides to split the class in groups and perform a jigsaw activity where groups of students learn about a form of government. The students in each group then disperse to teach what they learned to other students. Which of the following benefits does a jigsaw activity provide? So this one's about a specific activity, which I love this activity. It's a really great and fun one. The students like it, gets them up, gets them moving, gets them talking, practicing that oral language proficiency, teaching each other. If a student can teach another student, that means they know it internally. So let's take a look at keywords and phrases that we need to pay special attention to. What do I need to highlight here?
5th grade.
Great teacher.
5th grade teacher.
Teaching a lesson.
What are we looking for?
Teaching a lesson.
Various types of government. She decides to split the
Maybe
class.
Yeah, the classes in groups. And
Where
they're in the,
students learn about a form of government. So somebody has monarchy, some group has something else, democracy, theocracy, dictatorship, whatever, of the different groups, and utilizing the jigsaw activity. Students in each group then disperse to teach what they learned to other students. So what benefits, and that's the goal. We're looking for the benefits of this jigsaw activity. Took all the different types of governments, and then the students move pieces and they jigsaw around. Why would we use this? Let's take a look at this. What would be the benefit to utilizing this jigsaw activity? It allows students to independently learn the content of the lesson. It allows the teacher to assess students' ability to summarize and synthesize content. It ensures that students with special needs can fully participate. It provides an opportunity for students to interact with teachers.
Number 3 is definitely out.
Right.
4 is out.
4, yeah,
Or
4
is out too. Absolutely. It's not even an activity where they're interacting with teachers. It doesn't even do that. Why would 1 be out? Because it is out.
Because they have to have already learned the material to participate.
So, and they're learning it through each other through this jigsaw activity, because she taught it, then she gave them individual groupings, and now they're going to go around and spread the wealth. Is that independent, or are they working together to spread the knowledge?
No, they're working independently
Well, no, well,
because they're in groups.
They're in groups,
working-
right? They're
but
dependent
yeah.
on each other, right? They are working in groups. So 1 cannot be the right answer. They're working together. They're learning from each other, which is dependent. So it allows the teacher to assess their understanding of what her lesson was, their ability to summarize, synthesize, change it, or put it however they want it to give it to the other group. So it does allow for assessment of understanding of on a deeper level, because when they can synthesize the content, they understand it on a deeper level. Are there any questions about this one? Which of the following should teachers consider when choosing a new technological tool to use in classroom instruction? So what's the goal? What are we looking for?
Choosing a new technological tool.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out like what should we think of if we're going to use new technological tool in our classroom.
I would want to know how to use it first.
Agreed.
What should-
Because it's brand, it's because it's new. So I would say 4.
That's, I agree
But
with
what-
4.
But let's slow down. So which of the following should the teacher consider when choosing a new technological tool? So before they choose it for use in the class, what should they think about? What should they consider?
Oh,
If
well,
it
I
can
mean,
be used for
okay,
the
so
teacher's classroom activity.
I guess I do like that number 3 does address if it can be used. Well, not every future classroom activity. There are
Right.
going to be times where
Yeah,
it's
and so
valued,
that
but not
every
every.
future,
But
it makes it
every-
wrong, right?
Every needs to go.
Yeah, every's a strong word.
Exactly. So when they throw those things in there and it's like, no, it's too definite.
Teacher requires training.
I don't like 1 because if we're talking classroom instruction, why would we
Whether the teacher
talk about whether
Right.
it should be taught
Yeah,
at
whether-
home?
Yeah.
said
Right.
whether the teacher requires training before properly using it.
But wait, I'm so
Whether the teacher requires instructional training before properly using a technology.
So you think that would make you not choose a new resource because you had to have instructional training, or because this is like, what should you consider when you're choosing the new instructional tool that you'll use in the classroom? I think it's a given.
Use it.
Most things require instructional training, right? Most new tools do. For us, for the students, there's a learning curve with every new tool. But with our special ed students and other learning and physical disabilities, some of our technological tools are problems for them. We have many students that have like visual problems, and many of the apps do not account for that. And so like we cannot assign students use of an app if they are going to have difficulty. Like we need to make sure that because there are other apps that have like the larger font for those that are visually impaired and need that larger font. So the actual correct answer, and I know that the wrong answer above was about special ed students, but for here it is, can students with the learning and or physical disability utilize this new tool that I'm going to be using? Because it's a given that we're going to have to be instructionally trained. Like we're going to need that instructional training. They're going to need it.
And technology, whether the technology can.
yeah, I read that wrong. I went too fast. I read it as like I wanted the instructional training instead of no, I'm not going to take this because
It requires instructional, right? Exactly. So
Yeah.
you don't want to. It just is. You know what I mean? Like that's not even
that's my
a consideration. Yeah. So be careful because they will try to get you with
That's-
some of these things. But like, given what they've certainly that would be the first thing that we would do. The first thing we would do once like we chose it is like, what I want to know how to be trained in it and what my students need to know. And so that's why most people choose 4, which is incorrect. And it's making sure that it's accessible, whatever tool you use, that it's accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Before you choose it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. This one is seemingly easy, but people get it wrong. So which of the following activities would best demonstrate students' ability to translate geographic data into visual formats? This is about assessing, right? Assessment of the student's ability. So we want an activity that will help us assess the student's ability to translate geographic data into visual formats. The goal is this being able, an activity that would tell us or allow us to assess their ability to translate geographic data into visual formats. So from geographic data to visual. Writing an article on the pages, on the changes in population distribution of the local wildlife over the past 20 years. Color coding landforms and bodies of water on a black and white map of Texas. Using a handheld GPS receiver to record the coordinates of neighborhood locations on a spreadsheet. Creating a line graph of population growth in the 5 largest Texas cities since 1850.
Translate data to
What can we throw out? Because we know it's not, it doesn't even go with our keywords and phrases. We need to have visual, from geographic data to a visual.
Number 3.
Number 3, yeah, a spreadsheet is not a visual. And so no. Number 3 is out.
of growth.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
tell me why. Why is number 1 not it?
Because it's an article and you're writing.
They're writing. That's not a
Not
visual.
format. Yeah.
This, what else?
4.
Number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
I love it. So one of you is right. Let's go back to the stuff. So we want to
Okay.
the best. It would, remember, when they give you best demonstrate, it's because they've given you 2 appropriate, but one is better than the other. Because we want to assess their ability to translate geographic data into a visual form. Which one does it better? Both of these are visuals.
Oh, I say 4 is out, 2 is right.
I think it's first, right? Because it says
Oh.
data.
Yeah, it's a
So-
line graph population. I don't know. I'm okay. I guess it's wrong. Is it wrong?
4 is
Four-
the answer.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
they're
Yeah.
just color coding landforms and bodies of water. So
Oh.
just coloring the ocean, coloring maybe the state of Texas, and like I don't know, neighboring states, different colors. That doesn't translate geographic data into visual formats. Here they're taking data, the population growth in 5 Texas cities, and they're transferring that into a line graph, which is a type of visual, right?
I need to use my own, I guess,
Great.
dictionary skills. And look up-
Yeah, no, you just have to be careful with the reading because it's all in the language. Like, what is the activity asking of us? Are they doing what they want them to be doing? Which one of these is better? Now, yes, this is still them. You could argue that 2 is still them translating their knowledge, right? They know what an ocean is, but which is better, which would better demonstrate their ability. And it would be taking this information and putting it into that line graph. Okay, guys, we're going to end here for today. And we will again have class on Wednesday. I think I have some more questions, and I'm compiling all of the pedagogy questions from like every content exam. So we are going to get new questions for a hot minute. Are going to be having practice questions. And I think it's helpful to get you guys to understand the importance of that mindfully reading of the scenarios and remembering that this is above all a reading exam. So that diction, the particular word choice that they choose to use is important. What are they asking for? When does this take place in the lesson cycle? What students is it, did it specifically mention, and did I make sure to support their needs in the answer choice? So we will begin again with more questions. I'll probably do a short because I said I was going to assess you today, but I'll pre-quiz you guys next week. We'll do just a little domain, and I'm going to want main keywords and phrases for each of the domains. So I'll give you an example. Domain 1, keywords and phrases, human growth and development, age group, skill level, English language art learning supports such as defining or pre-teaching any academic specific vocabulary, sometimes social vocabulary, providing visuals, connecting to the students' interests and skills when planning instruction and assessment, all of those things, domain 1 categories and best practices. So I'm going to ask you guys for each of the domains, because I want you to be able to, as you're reading the scenario and question, say to yourself, oh, this is a domain 2 question for sure, because they're asking me about classroom climate and procedures. And so I know exactly what best practices should go for this. So I want for you to be that fluent in your understanding of this exam to be able to spot it on, on first reading. Do I have any questions?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm gonna ask you about that. If you have any document with the vocabulary.
With the vocabulary just out, let me look. I think I do, and if not, I'll just make some. I'll make a vocabulary list for each of the domain areas.
Yeah, because,
That would be very
because
helpful.
That'd be real nice.
Yes.
Well, then I will certainly work on that for you guys.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for choosing teaching. You guys are the real MVPs of society. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
You said Wednesday at the same time?
Wednesday at the same time, and then Saturday at the same time.
Okay, will it be different links again?
Yes, the Calendly system sends a different link. So just send me a message and I'll send it to you, Miss Beasley.
Okay, yeah, because I set up for the calendar, but it didn't send me the link today, so, okay.
You see, it normally does, but I've had some people tell me I didn't get the link. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what the deal is. I'm not too familiar with it. And I've had a lot of like problems with it. Like my Wednesday class, for some reason, it breaks up that hour into 30-minute increments. So it allows people
Oh,
to sign
wow.
up for 2 different sessions when it's just one session. And when I click on the 6:30 link, I'm not going to go back and click on the 7 o'clock link. Everyone should be in the same class. So I apologize if I've rescheduled you for 6:30. It's just because I want you to have the right Zoom link, because it is the 6:30 one and not.
Okay, so I'll text you on Wednesday. Thank you, have a good weekend.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank
much.
you so much. Yes, absolutely. It's my pleasure.